Oh, hey. Hi. Welcome back. Tonight we're going to be reading about ancient India. I'm reading pages 105 through 108 in your green Reading Essential Resource book, okay? So I need you to turn to page 105 and we're going to go ahead and get started, okay? So on page 105, we have the essential question, the terms to know, and our map. Our essential question is, how does geography influence the way people live? And that's been our overarching theme. This whole unit is geography and rivers and fertile land and the temperature and the climate, and it's very interesting. If you notice the map here, we're going to be talking about India. Now, India is really interesting because there's so many people who live there now, and their history is different than any other ancient civilization because they didn't have wars and they weren't a conquering group of people like we saw in Egypt and in the Mesopotamian area, and also in the future when we look at Greece and Rome. Like, they're completely different, okay? Another thing I want to point out to you really quick on this map is that India, if you draw a line to the left, you're going to hit the Nile River and you're also going to hit the Mediterranean Sea. So it's very interesting that these ancient river valley civilizations not only began and started to flourish around the same time, but they also started on the same lines of latitude. And that's very interesting because it means that they had very similar geographic features. They had very similar climate features, and I wanted y'all to, really see that on a map. And I'm sure you're going to see that as we go through India, some of the similarities in geography. And so I'm excited to show y'all that. Some terms to know are subcontinent, monsoon, language family, Sanskrit, Vedas, Raja, Caste, and Guru. So you can read the definitions. I just wanted you to hear the pronunciation, okay? Okay, so we're moving on to the next page, page 106. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Boop, boop. Okay. The geography of India. India's northern border starts on the southern edge of the continent of Asia. The Himalaya is a mountain system that blocks off India from the rest of Asia. This makes India a subcontinent. So basically, what they're saying is there's a mountain range right here that it separates it, right, from Asia. Number 1, in the text, circle the landform that separates India and the rest of Asia. The Ganges and the Indus rivers are in northern India. The Ganges runs southeast into the Indian Ocean. The Indus flows southwest into the Arabian Sea. Their water comes from melting snow in the Himalaya. The Deccan Plateau is south of the river valleys. It is dry and hilly. The coastal areas have plains or flat land that is good for farming. And we're going to look at this closer tomorrow. So, if you can't get a good visual of this, then, you can Google it. I mean, you're on the phone right now or on your computer, so you can Google this area if you want to get a visual. But if not, we're going to get that tomorrow. India's climate or usual weather has monsoons or strong winds. The winter monsoon blows in cold, dry air from the mountains. The summer monsoon brings warm, wet air from the Arabian Sea. Summer monsoons bring the rainy season. If the rain comes in time, the crops will be good. If the rains are late, then there may be a drought or a long dry period which can ruin crops. Number 2, how does a monsoon wind affect life in India? The Indus Valley Civilization. Indians, I keep saying Indians. India's first civilization began in the Indus River Valley where crops grew in the rich soil. The Indus civilization lasted from about 2600 BC until 1900 BC. Cities and towns were spread over western India and Pakistan. Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were large cities with populations of about 35,000 people each. The cities had large streets paved with bricks and smaller unpaved side streets. A fortress was built to protect the people. Houses were built with oven-baked bricks made out of mud. The houses had flat roofs, enclosed courtyards, wells, and indoor bathrooms. Pipes took wastewater from pits outside the city walls. Houses also had garbage chutes that led to bins in the streets. The Indians were very clean, you guys. They were very clean, and their city structure was way advanced for the age and the time, like super advanced. And we're going to look at that tomorrow too, and look at that this week, some of the pictures and videos about how their cities were set up. I mean, it was super cool, and it's very much like the way we live today, but it was so long ago. The Indus Valley people left no written records. Experts have studied what is left of the cities to learn what life was like. The royal palace and temple may have been built together inside of a fortress. So number 3 says list 5 features and houses of the Indus Valley cities. So that's going to be right in here. Number 4 said, how did most Indus Valley people earn a living? So you're either a farmer or you're a city dweller. So if you're a farmer, you're growing things like this. If you're a city dweller, you're making things like this. But most people were probably farmers or brick makers or things like that. All right, next page. I'm going to give you a little zoom in here. Boop, boop. All right, page 107. Most people were farmers. City dwellers made goods that could be traded. There you go. Most people were farmers. So the answer number 4, most people were farmers. City dwellers made goods that could be traded. Indus Valley merchants traded with the Mesopotamians. Some traders traveled across the Arabian Sea. Others made the difficult trip through the mountains. Aryan migrations and settlements. Around 1900 BC, the people of the Indus Valley began to leave their cities. Soon, people called the Aryans, began settling the river valley. The Aryans came from Central Asia. They were nomads, meaning that they traveled to find food for their herds of cattle and themselves. The Aryans were not a single race or tribe. They were a group of people who spoke similar languages. This language family was called Indo-European. The Aryans were good warriors and expert horse riders and hunters. Number 5, the Aryans were different groups of people. In what way were they alike? Well, they had the same language family, right? And they were also nomads who eventually became farmers. The nomads became farmers. They made up of groups who spoke similar languages. They made iron tools. They developed the language of Sanskrit together, and they lived in groups ruled by rajas. So that's number 5 is all up in here, okay? Number 6 is coming up. After a while, the Aryans stopped living as nomads and became farmers. Over time, they decided that cattle were sacred, so people in India stopped eating meat from cattle. The Aryans began to make iron tools. With these, they cleared India's forests and dug canals to bring water from the river to the fields. This made the Ganges River Valley good for growing crops. Farmers in North India grew wheat, barley, and other grains. In the river valleys, farmers grew rice. In the south, they grew spices like pepper, ginger, and cinnamon. India was actually known as one of the spice capitals, and whenever China started trading across the world, like that was a big thing. Like the spice market in India, even today, is huge. So number 6, what 2 activities did the Aryans stop doing? Well, they stopped being nomads and they stopped eating cattle. So or cows. Cattle is cows. Number 7, why did the Aryans develop a written language? Well, they wanted to write stuff down because they wanted to, as you're going to see in the next paragraph, the early Aryans did not write down things when they were nomads. When they became farmers, they developed a written language called Sanskrit. Using Sanskrit, they wrote down sales and trade information. They also wrote down songs, stories, poems, and prayers in sacred books called the Vedas. Number 8, how did the Aryans change their way of life after they settled in India? Well, there was quite a few things. Read back through. Look at their way of life, how they changed once they settled down. Okay? Moving on to the next page. We're on page 108. Here we go. 108. The best known section of the poem... Wait, that's not the right page. Wait a second. I took pictures of all the text pages so that we could look at it. Okay, so we're just going to read together from here. Alright, so I'm on page 108. The Aryans lived in groups ruled by Raja, or prince. Rajas often fought with each other over treasure and cattle. Ancient India society. The The Aryan society and social groups developed. They became the caste system. A person was born into a caste and could never change to any other. The caste system has rules for almost every part of life, including marriage, work, and friendships. So you could even be friends with somebody from like a lower caste. It was very particular. The many different castes in Indian society were grouped into 4 classes called Varnas. The top Varna was the Brahmins, who were priests. The next Varna was the Kshatriyas, the warriors. They ran the government and the army. After the Kshatriyas came the Vaisyas, or common people. They were farmers, craftsmen, and merchants. Then came the Sudras. They were lower class workers and servants who had few rights. Most Indians were Sudras. One group was too low to be part of the caste system, the Untouchables. Untouchables did work considered too dirty for caste members, such as collecting trash. Most Indians thought Untouchables were unclean. As a result, the Untouchables were made to live apart, like completely apart from the other caste members. Grandparents, parents, and children all lived together, and the oldest man was in charge. This is called an extended or enlarged family. So number 9 says, in the text, circle the names of the 4 castes and the group that was not part of the caste system. So you're going to circle Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaisyas, Sudras. And then you're going to underline what type of people belong to each one of those castes. And then number 10 said what was family like. That's coming up. So everybody lived together and they were in large families. And then men had more rights than women. Men went to school to become priests. And when they were young, they studied with a guru or teacher. Older boys went to schools in the cities. Parents chose marriage partners for their children, and divorce was not allowed. They're called arranged marriages, and India is very much like that today. You live in a large group. That was seen to protect their grandparents and to keep everybody together. And women, they have more rights now, but they mainly stay at home and cook and clean and all that kind of stuff. So check for understanding at the bottom. Says write whether each feature was the Indus Valley civilization, Aryan civilization, or both. So develop the caste system. Use mud bricks to make buildings. Grew rice, wheat, and barley. Use the Sanskrit language. Built large city with paved streets. So you're going to go back and see, we got the Indus on 106, and you got the Aryan area and on 107. So, like, for example, the first one, develop the caste system. That's only the Aryan society, because you can see on this page it says in the Aryan society, social groups developed. Okay? So, yeah, that's it. I apologize for the technical difficulty. I will do better next time. So, yeah, tune in tomorrow to have the next section of the text read to you and to have our discussion. And if you have any questions, let me know tomorrow. And thank you so much for coming. Oh, and if you draw me a smiley face with a heart in its middle of its forehead right here, and you put your name on it, I'll give you 15 bonus points. How about that? Okay. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye.